Hi everyone, this is Hira. Welcome to My English. I'm here with yet another video on IELTS preparation, and today we are going to do matching heading questions. A lot of students have problem in doing matching heading questions. Let's take a look what all we will be doing. In this video, we will be looking at some common problems associated with these question types, matching heading questions. Then, of course, I'm going to provide you with some tips on how to overcome these problems, and then I'll tell you the strategy to solve the questions well. And finally, we are going to take a look at a solved example of a matching heading question. So let's get started. Let's look at the common problems that students face while doing the matching heading questions is a very important thing, that is shortage of time. They keep on lingering on the question, they don't understand, and they simply waste their time and they feel that the time was not enough. However, this is not the case. We will be taking a look at how do you manage your time. You should strictly give 1 minute, not more than that, on each question. But yes, shortage of time is one of the most common problems students report. Then this is again, students, they commit this mistake that they start looking for exact keywords. This should not be done because paraphrasing is the key, my friends. You always have to look for the meanings of the keywords, not for the exact keywords. But yes, there are a lot of students who still do that. And what they also do is reading only the first and the last sentence. Yes, it is one of the key strategies of doing the matching heading questions, solving them well, but sometimes the paragraph may not contain the actual answer in the first and the last sentence. So in those cases, it becomes imperative, it is important that you read further too, right? You don't have to skim it too fast that you don't even realize what is the actual crux of the passage. Yeah, obviously there will be more headings than the paragraphs. So if there are 5 paragraphs, you're bound to get 8 to 9 headings, which is absolutely fine because it's not going to be a cakewalk, it's not going to be a piece of cake. So we should be ready for the worst. Yes, this is quite a genuine concern that headings may be misleading, and it is definitely there that there are some similarities in the headings. So we must see what are the differences in the headings which apparently seem similar, because there are differences in them. So what we have to do is we need to read it well. We need to read if there are any qualifying words like we did in true, false, not given, and we have to also see what are the things that make these two headings look different. So that is something that we have to do. Now, how do you address these problems? How do you overcome these problems? Is number 1, no need to read and understand each and every word. Remember, we always keep repeating the same thing. We always say that you are not there to understand each and every word of the passage. You're not there to do that. Your job is simply find the answer, mark the answer, that's all. So even if you don't understand something, it is okay. Next important thing is you need to use the skimming technique well. Now, like I said, you don't have to skim too fast that you kind of miss the important points that you should be paying attention to while reading the passage. So skimming should be done. Yes, skimming means what? Skimming is reading for the general overview. So people just, do it like this, but they should spend some time skimming the passage. When you're reading the text, you should find out what are the keywords and always try to paraphrase them. Look for their synonyms because the answers will not be directly given to you. Usually the questions are in the second or the third section, so it is bound to be a difficult one. So don't think that it will be given to you directly. Watch out for similar headings. Like I said, there will be similar headings, so it is important that you make an understanding of the difference between the similar headings. Read paragraph wise. Now what I mean by that is I will be telling you that in the strategies, so just hold on for a bit. Move on if unsure, don't panic. If you're unsure of the answer, it is okay, no problem. You can keep it for a review. And finally, if you're still not able to find the answer even after doing all the answers, then it is okay. Mark the one that's the closest and move on. Do not panic. Remember, it is only 1 mark question, right? Don't read too fast. Like I said, skimming should be done, but don't read too fast. It defeats the purpose. Okay, now very important. Please pay attention to the strategy. The first thing that you do is you look at the headings. A lot of people say that you go to the passage first, then you go to the headings. I would say still go to the headings. Look at all the headings, because when you're looking at the headings, you're also trying to find the keywords there. There will be some similarities, some differences between the headings. So this is where you're actually looking at the headings. Are you able to figure out, okay, these two headings look apparently similar. These two headings, they're very different. This can never be the answer, right? So that kind of makes you sure that, okay, this can be the answer or this cannot be the answer. This can definitely not be the answer, right? So look at the question first. Then read one paragraph. What I meant by read paragraph wise is you read one paragraph at one time. Read it completely. Usually I would recommend to read the first and the last sentence. Try to see if you're able to figure it out what could be a possible gist of that paragraph. After you've formed the gist, then you have to go to the headings again. Read all the headings. So you've read one paragraph, then you're reading all the headings. Then you match the closest answer. Now when you're doing that, you're kind of eliminating the ones that you've already done. So by the time you reach the last paragraph, you will be only left with 3 or maximum 4 headings. So what you're doing in this process is you're reading the paragraph only one time. You're not reading the paragraphs many times. There are some people who read the heading, they go to the paragraphs A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, right? So that way you're reading the headings once but reading the paragraphs many times, thus wasting your time. So you should be reading the paragraphs, then going to all the headings and then marking the correct one, then going to the para B and repeating the whole process, right? So let's take a look at one of the questions that have been asked in IELTS book number 14, test number 1. Now the question is, choose the correct heading for each section from the list of headings given below. Okay, now I want you to read all the headings properly. Solving the puzzle of papyrus document, importance of written records and different ways of recording them, use of papyrus for a range of purposes, suggestions for future possibilities for papyrus, how papyrus. So what you're doing is you applying the strategy that we have just learned. You read all the headings, then you read only the first paragraph. Okay, so pause the video and try to find out what can be the possible answer for para A. Now I'm going to tell you the correct answer. The correct answer is second, which is the importance of written records and different ways of recording them. And your keywords are importance, written records, ways of recording. Okay. Now let's come to the paragraph. Libraries and archives are cultural crossroads of knowledge exchange. So this is a keyword matching. If you read further, you would say, and written documentation carries enormous cultural importance. So importance, cultural importance is there. Fine. Then, so first part of it is there. Importance of written records. Now, different ways of recording them is there in the second paragraph, which is documentation requires a writing tool and a surface. So this is a way of writing. Then they have mentioned about reeds or sticks, then mud blocks, and then animal skins and wood strips and so on. Right, so by all means, you have found the answer for para A as second one. Now, for the next one, you have to cross out the second since you have already marked it. So now you're left with 7 choices and the rest of the paragraphs. Fine. So again, pause the video. Try to find out what can be the possible answer for para B. Now the answer to it is the process of papyrus production. And why it is so is what I told you in one of the strategies, that sometimes the answer is hidden in the first and the last line, but sometimes you have to read the whole paragraph to understand it. So this is the typical example of that particular situation, that the process is all over the paragraph. If you read this paragraph, you will find, in fact, the first sentence is not useful at all as far as the topic is concerned. The process of papyrus production, right? Papyrus is strongly associated with Egyptian culture, although all ancient civilizations around the Mediterranean used it. The papyrus sedge is so nothing in the first sentence at all. The papyrus sedge is a tall grass-like plant. It was harvested. So now it is saying that this is the process. It was harvested. Then manufacturing sheets of papyrus was a complex, messy process. So the process is also mentioned here. Then pith from inside the plant stem was cut into long strips that were laid side by side. They were then covered with second layer, which were laid at the right angles, then soaked in water, then hammered together, was then crushed, dried, polished to produce a high quality writing surface, and could be glued together, rolled up to make screws. So as you see, the entire paragraph is talking about the process of papyrus production. So there is no way that we can, skip by reading just the first and the last sentence. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So let's move to the next paragraph. Okay, as you see this, we have already marked the second one and the eighth one. So now we are down with 6 points, and this is quite a big one, but we still have to find it out. Pause the video, try to find out what could be the answer. Answer is the seventh one, and it is the preservation and destruction of papyrus documents, and your keywords are preservation, destruction, documents. So preservation ends this one. Papyrus scrolls in the library of Julius Caesar's father-in-law were protected at Herculean by ash from the catastrophic eruption. So they were preserved. Protected is preserved. Then destruction means it is a stable, decay, then rot resistant. So this is all talking about preservation. Then here, if you see this here, a thick layer of sand covered these dumps. They were forgotten. Documents were protected. Time capsule, potentially dangerous, and then finally they were prone to some catastrophes, which is such calamity, burning of the great library of Alexandria, papyrus scrolls and books it contained. So it is nothing but talking about preservation and destruction of papyrus documents. So now we have moved with A, B and C. We are left with 2 passages and we have completed 3 answers. Let's move further. So I have eliminated 2nd, 7th and 8th. Now I have para D and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options. So I want you to take a look at them. Alright, now the answer is number 3, which is the use of papyrus for range of purposes. It is absolutely clear that besides their use and record keeping, so everywhere it is talking about the use of papyrus only. So other uses like boat construction, making rope, sales basket, being a source of food, and finally in the end also it is said that it stabilizes soil, reduces erosion. So basically it's talking about the advantages, but here in the beginning it's talking about the use of papyrus for a range of purposes. So third is the right answer for para D. Have reduced 4 options and now we are only left with 4 choices and 1 passage. So we have 2 paragraphs for this one as well. So try to find the answer for this one too. Okay, and the answer is 6. The decline of papyrus use. And why is it saying so? Is you would not find it in the beginning again. True paper was probably invented in China in the 1st century CE, constructed like papyrus. It was so basically it is actually giving how papyrus was replaced by true paper, which was invented in China. Now, if you read the last line of this first para, you would see the adoption of this paper by Western culture soon rendered papyrus obsolete. So if it is being obsolete, that means it is no longer in use and the usage of it is getting reduced with each passing day. It would be inconceivable to use papyrus for. So these are the places, the keywords where you can find the possible answers to these questions. I hope you've understood and you've got the right answers as well. And I thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit the like button and do subscribe to My English. And I will come up with more interesting, simple videos on IELTS preparation. Till then, take care of yourself. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.